Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 21st of February, now it's 3 o'clock, middle of the day. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my channel in which I share latest updates on the news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There is quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. But before I start, let me once again emphasize how grateful I am for your time, attention and support. Thank you very much. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with the speech that Putin, President of Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, did deliver to Federal Assembly this morning. And I will say straight away that I am quite disappointed with this speech, because in journalism, these kind of statements we are calling water, because 90% is about nothing, because there is nothing new there that was not said before by Putin, let's say, or any of his colleagues in government or in his party. But there was some quite interesting episodes, and I will give you some highlight. To be honest, I even regret that I spent time listening to his speech. But yes, yet again, let me start. First of all, Putin stated that Russia will suspend its participation in the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. This is quite a big deal in some sense, but what Putin says next does worries me, because Putin said that the reason for this suspension is that other Western states, nuclear Western states, are acting towards Russia very hawkishly, aggressively, and they should also be included in future negotiations about strategic arms reduction. And one may say, "Oh, yes, this is a good initiative," and I agree. On paper, this is good initiative, but when it comes to implementation, you should remember, and probably you do remember, that for many years Washington was trying to somehow force China to become part of those treaties that Russia and the USA had between each other about arms control, about this treaty, for example, about strategic arms reduction, and in many other treaties that most of them are now not active. And Beijing was always against, always against in participation in any treaty between Russia and the USA. And main reason was that Russia and USA has much more nuclear weapons, for example, or intercontinental ballistic missiles, or strategic bombers, And now with this initiative from the Putin, even though on paper it may look good, like, why only Russia and USA should reduce the strategic arms. Britain and France should also participate, but I'm predicting, and you will see in some time, that reaction from the West will be that, okay, we may not be against this. They will take some, time, and they will pause, of course. But eventually they may say that, what, okay, we will participate in this, but let China also become part of it. And India and Pakistan, also maybe even North Korea or Israel. And when it comes to India and Pakistan, they may not have an issue with it, but still, I don't think it's gonna be easy. But China will definitely refuse, because only a few days ago I did share with you information that, according to some sources, until 2035, China plans to increase its nuclear arsenal up to 900 warheads, nuclear warheads. And I just see no way how China will participate in any kind of treaty that will block Beijing's attempts to, not to become as much as powerful in terms of nuclear weapons as Russia and the US is, but at least to have enough nuclear weapons so that no one will even dare to think about attacking China. And I am afraid this initiative of Putin may be received in Beijing as a play for Western elites, as a, they may say, what, believe it or not, but Putin just said what Western elites want from us. That's what Western elites really want from Russia. And if you remember, Washington even openly were asking Russia to somehow use its influence on China so that China will become part of treaties between Russia and USA. So I do see some problems, some issues with this statement, to be honest. On paper, it looks great because, of course, France and England, as a nuclear state, should also become part of treaty about reduction of strategic arsenals. But as I just said, Western elites will say, okay, then bring to the table China too. And that's what they really want, to somehow reduce Chinese arsenal. And Beijing will definitely say no, but these kind of statements may draw the line between Russia and China. And if Chinese become more suspicious of Russia, that will definitely not help Russia in any ways, isn't it? So that's my take on this episode. You may agree with me or disagree. I mean, let's have a conversation in comment sections. So Putin also, in his speech, said that, he was quite hawkish towards Western elites. It's not surprising, really, but he did not say anything new. He spoke about degradation of the Western elites and how they cannot be trusted and how immoral Western elites really are. But yes, they are immoral and they cannot be trusted, and everyone knows this. So it's nothing new for nobody, When it comes to special military operation, Putin spoke about many things, but what I find interesting is that at some point he said that personnel that are involved in special military operations should have at least 2 weeks leave in every 6 months. And when I hear that, I was thinking, what the hell, man? How long do you think this conflict will drag on? That you are now, after a year of special military operation, saying that military personnel should have 2 weeks leave every 6 months. And this statement is basically indication that that's how we read it. Anyway, I take it as an indication that this conflict will continue for years, really. We will not see quick end of this conflict, unfortunately. We won't see some large-scale Russian offensive operation that everyone is talking about. We may see some offensives, but we will not see some decisive victory of Russia in next 2 to 3 months. It's just not the option for the Moscow. Moscow is not considering this kind of scenario. Otherwise, Putin will not say that give soldiers 2 weeks leave every 6 months. But he said that, and that means that this conflict will probably continue for a year or two at least. Unfortunately, because longer this conflict continues, more and more casualties are on both sides, and including civilians. And I mean, how anyone can be happy about it? I mean, it's sad. It's sad. What else he said, man? He spoke about military equipment. He said that Russian strategic forces are equipped with new weapons on, 85 or 95%, something like that. And regular armed forces should also become equipped with modern weapons, and experience of special military operations should be realized in this new equipment, which is, okay, interesting, but nothing special really. He spoke about economy. He said that during expectations of the Western elites, Russian economy is doing really, I mean, more or less okay. And he spoke about development of new trade routes between Russia and the world, or particularly Middle East and Asia Pacific region, Indo-Pacific region. He mentioned the trade route north-south, which goes from Russia to Iran and then to the rest of the world. And this is all significant, of course, but as I said, I was expecting speech of president of the country that are in war with the Western elites, and I did not see it. And topics that he touched about, economy and life in general in Russia, and how they're gonna improve life of ordinary citizens. I mean, this is all. I mean, come on, man. He can make these kind of speeches every other week, and he does basically. So as I said, nothing new. I did notice one moment when he spoke about some new fund that will be created to directly support families of servicemen that are involved in special military operation and servicemen themselves. And at one hand, okay, I mean, let's create fund which will directly support those categories of society. But in second hand, there is governmental institutions that supposed to do exactly that right now. Why you need some new institution to be created when you already have governmental institutions that should work and deliver? I don't see logic in this truly, and particularly because for many reasons, but one of the reasons is that I'm quite sure this fund will be created, and then after some time there will be some corruption scandal. And let me say it this way: not all money from this fund will go to families of servicemen or servicemen or to servicemen. I'm 100% sure about this. 100%. There will be some corruption issues with this fund, because corruption issues are, destroying entire system in Russia. Corruption is destroying Russia itself. But seems like Putin don't really cares about it, because he says nothing about corruption in Russia. He spoke about corruption in the West. I mean, why you care about corruption in West so much? When you have problems with corruption in Russia, what's wrong with you? But yet again, So as I said, man, this speech was from 10 point. I will give it like 0, really. So it is what it is, man. And if you want, as I said, if you want to learn about his speech in detail, you will see it in other channels, other channels will devote to this topic more time, I'm quite sure. And you know, let's continue now with news, because my program is basically about news that are making headlines, and not just Putin making headlines today or his speech. Now we have TASS news agency here, which is reporting that according to military expert from LPR, Andrei Marochko, according to him, Ukrainian armed forces now spreading information among Ukrainian units that soon some kind of second front will be open against Russia. And this way they are trying to raise morale of the Ukrainian fighters. To be honest, I did read this little article, and I don't really see what kind of second front they are talking about. Who will open this second front? First thing that comes to mind is Moldova and Georgia. Second is Poland. But right now, I don't think that in next, even though West is actively trying to destabilize Georgia to create some kind of regime change there and put in power some criminal elements that are affiliated with former Georgian president war criminal Mikhail Saakashvili. But for now, at least, Western attempts are unsuccessful, and current Georgian government is doing well to keep Georgia safe and Georgian society. So I hope they will continue this way. When it comes to Moldova is in troubling waters right now, because this puppet of West, this Sandu, president of Moldova, she and her government actively provoking Russia. It's obvious. Yesterday I read statement from Prime Minister of Moldova, or former Prime Minister, who said that Russian forces, Russian peacekeepers in should be, basically he was threatening Russian peacekeepers in Transnistria, and this is a region that claims independence from Moldova. And some part of society that not happy with this actively pro-Western or anti-Russian government, that part of society is demonstrating, and they want some normal people to become officials again. But as I said, there is some turmoil in Moldova, but right now I don't see how West will create second front there. Poland and Romania, involvement of Poland and Romania, yes, it's possible, but yet again, I don't think that Poland is ready right now to enter this conflict openly. In 3 months' time, maybe. In 3-5 months' time, maybe. But right now, as I understand, Warsaw is still trying to create some new formations for army, and I don't think they really are ready, man, to fight this kind of fight. They are seeing situation in Ukraine, and they may had some illusions 3-4 months ago, but now they probably understand that Polish army may be destroyed in entire Polish army may get destroyed in Ukraine in a couple of months' time. So they will think twice before do some crazy moves. I hope so, at least. So yes, I mean, Zelensky's regime may use any topic to somehow try to increase morale in Ukrainian forces, but in time of internet, man, it's gonna be very hard, because after all, most of the Ukrainian forces are forced to be on the front line. And to be honest, I hope they will, in the first opportunity, will lay down arms and just surrender to save their lives. Because, as I said, man, ordinary Ukrainians are not our enemies. And I personally do understand that many of Ukrainian soldiers are just forced to be on the front line because they are threatened. They are threatened that they will kill them, those Nazi animals that are running Ukraine. They may threaten their families. I mean, they are criminals and Nazis. And I do understand that these soldiers are threatened. They are afraid, and that's why they are on the front line. As I said, man, even if there will be some mobilization and they will, I will be drafted, and if I will end up on the front line, I will still have this attitude towards Ukrainian soldiers. I'm not talking about neo-Nazi units, man. There should be no mercy towards neo-Nazis. That's, I mean, 100%. But when it comes to ordinary soldiers, man, they are not our enemies. They are mistaken. They are forced to be in positions against us. But I don't, not now, not ever. I will never take them as enemies, because Ukrainian society. Putin said quite a few right things today, and he mentioned in today's speech also that Russia is not fighting Ukrainians, and that's true. Russia is not fighting Ukrainian society. I think exactly the same way. So let's continue. This is RIA Novosti reporting here that Russian armed forces did destroy 2 HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems in Kramatorsk area, which is good. I mean, last week, if I remember correctly, 3 HIMARS rocket systems were destroyed. At least that's what I see in the reports. So it's all good. It's all good, man. Less opportunity Zelensky's Nazi regime will have to shell deep inside Russian territory is better. I hope one day we will see no HIMARS left in hands of Zelensky's Nazi regime. We have RBK news agency here, which is reporting that according to Belarusian defense ministry, Ukrainian side is concentrating large force with border to Belarus, and Minsk is taking this development as a provocation. And who knows what will happen there. I don't see how, for example, Zelensky's regime will try to, I don't see why they will start fighting against Belarus right now in military terms. Because in political terms, Zelensky's Nazi regime did everything to break relationships with Minsk. But in military terms, they are putting soldiers, units in border with Belarus for defensive purposes, probably. But Belarusian militaries may see it differently, and they should see it differently. They should be prepared for anything really, because many military experts are saying that, for example, not just Ukrainian forces, but Polish forces may also try to enter Belarus. So I believe Minsk is doing right if they are cautious about all movements, all military movements close to their borders. That's the right approach. And when it comes, let me show you on the map, man. I didn't open map today. Let me see how long this video is. 24 minutes. Okay, this video will be short, I hope. At least not 15 minutes like yesterday. So yes, that's Belarus here. And That's Polish border. That's Ukrainian border here. And yes, as I said, man, in future, in 3 5 months time, we may see uh, Polish and Ukrainian forces attacking Ukraine, attacking Belarus. But right now, I don't see how they are able to conduct such a operation. When it comes to Russian forces in Belarus, after today's speech of Putin, when he spoke about some 2 weeks leave for soldiers every 6 months, after this speech, I lost any hope I had uh, towards quick, fast ending of this conflict, and therefore see, I don't think that Russia will conduct offensive operation from Belarus. And forces that are there, Russian forces, they are probably for defense purposes also, to protect Belarus from possible Ukrainian or Polish invasion. And when it comes to Russian offensive operations, as I already said, I lost any hope about quick ending of this conflict. So I don't think we will see any Russian huge or large scale offensive operation in near future. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, time will tell. But I was quite disappointed after Putin's speech. I was expecting something else, to be honest. But you know, it is what it is, man. Let's continue with news. And we have Kommersant newspaper here, which is reporting that according to U.S. media, Politico in this case, head of CIA Burns, if I am not mistaken, William Burns, yes, told the Zelensky's Nazi regime in January that they should be prepared, that West will send less and less military aid to Ukraine in the coming months, and therefore Zelensky's regime should conduct offensive operations right now before they are receiving at least something. And we do have the information. A few days ago, I did share with you information that Western officials, U.S. officials in particular, were pushing Zelensky's regime to conduct offensive operations, but and basically possible direction of Ukraine offensive is this direction: Energodar, Melitopol, Berdyansk, so that Crimea will be cut off from mainland Russia if Zelensky's regime conducts such an offensive operation, and if they were successful. But right now, I don't see how Zelensky's regime will be able to succeed in this kind of operation. I did say many times before, and I will repeat myself: only way Zelensky's regime will achieve success in this area, only way they will establish control over the Energodar and the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, which is here, or Melitopol and Berdyansk, is if Moscow, for some strange reasons, will withdraw its forces from this area, like Moscow did in Zaporozhye region, not in Zaporozhye, but in Kherson region and in Kharkov region. So let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes. When it comes to main hot points, situation for Seversk becoming, I did say it yesterday, situation for Seversk becoming more and more difficult. And in some time, they may find themselves in operational encirclement, like Bakhmut is. And when it comes to Bakhmut, There's no big changes there, at least for now. Except let me show you this information. Yagodne village here, Yagodne is under control of PMC Wagner now. This is my Telegram channel, by the way. You can subscribe if you want to see updates on, you know, every day, many times a day. Basically, I do share tons of informations sometime. So you will find the link in the description. So Yagodne is, or Yahidne is here. Come on. That's Yahidne, north side of Bakhmut. I did say yesterday that Russian forces were conducting offensive operation in direction of, including this village, and we have now reports that PMC Wagner did establish control over the Yahidne, but not much else is happening in this area. As you know, there were many reports that PMC Wagner units are now transferred to south of front line. Some are saying that they will enter fight for Uglidar, which is here. Some reports are saying that these forces have been sent to south to conduct some offensive operations in Zaporozhye region. But it's not clear. It's not clear yet. So we will find out. We will find out soon. There were some reports that some Ukrainian units did try to cross the Dnieper River here, and attempt was unsuccessful. They lost some 20 soldiers and some military equipment, including boats. But I did not see video or photo confirmation of this information, so take it with pinch of salt. So yes, there is not huge changes in frontline, at least for now. So yes, let's continue. Let's continue. We have TASS news agency here, which is reporting that Zelensky's regime is afraid that they will be forced to sign some peace deal with Moscow, and this information coincides with the information that I just gave you a few minutes ago about Baron's statements to Zelensky that they should try to conduct some offensive operations before it's not too late. What can I say, man? I don't see right now any attempts, even from the West or from anybody really, to end this conflict, and it seems like Zelensky's regime is where Zelensky's regime should worry about many things, but right now I don't see how Washington, or why Washington will force them to sign any deal with Moscow. And in foreseeable future, we will probably don't see any real negotiations. So, and one information from economical point of view, and this is gonna be it for today's video. RIA Novosti is reporting here that there's some disappointment in Poland from workers of let me translate this, man. It's impossible, man. Yes, from agri sector, Polish agrarians basically are not happy that because they lost Russian market, because they lost Russian markets, they cannot sell now the apples. And yes, that's a price that societies in Europe will pay for actions that Western elites are taking, because this sanction war goes both ways. They did sanction Russia, but same time they sanctioned their own societies too, because, for example, what wrong Polish agrarians did, why they have to suffer because of policies that Warsaw is implementing, or Brussels, but they are suffering. And this is not a single case. I mean, many European countries are now, experiencing some difficulties, because in some countries there are no more Russian tourists. In some countries, there are no more Russian market that they could sell the production, and it's not easy to find new markets for them, because let's be honest, European production is quite expensive, isn't it? And if you try to sell, for example, Polish apples to, I don't know, China, man, it's already expensive. And before these apples will get to China, it's gonna be, I mean, who gonna buy it? It's gonna be too expensive. And Russia was close. And therefore, I mean, price was more or less normal, and people were buying it. So yeah, and this goes to all other products too. And this is it, man. This is it for now. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest. And yeah, this is it. This is it for now. If you find my video interesting, I hope you will push that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. Please share my links to my videos with your friends on Telegram, Facebook, or Twitter. And yes, this is it. You can support my channel on by PayPal or on Patreon. You will see links on the description. And this is it, really. Sorry, I'm too tired, really. And but I hope I did manage to present you news in proper English. So yeah, this is it. Have a nice day and take care.